Republican Senator Dianne Feinstein, Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein. Sorry, it's difficult to remember what her party affiliation is because she acts so much like a Republican. But anyways, she decided to announce via Twitter that she is seeking a 6th term as a United States Senator, saying, "I am running for re-election to the Senate. Lots more to do. Ending gun violence, combating climate change, access to healthcare. I'm all in." And in response, the internet collectively said, fuck. Because this is California. We can do a lot better than Dianne Feinstein, can't we, California? She's basically a Republican. I don't even know why she hasn't changed parties yet. A lot of people say that she is a Democrat because she really speaks out unequivocally in favor of gun reform, but the only reason why she does this is because she doesn't take money from the NRA. So in the one area where she's not sold out to the interests of special interests, she can be bold. But, when it comes to universal health care, Medicare for all, well, she doesn't like Medicare for all because she doesn't support a government takeover. And yes, if you were wondering whether or not that was a Republican talking point, it is. And that is something that Dianne Feinstein said at a town hall this year. So, as usual, people from California, particularly the politicians from California, Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, they all came out to immediately endorse her. However, another Californian politician, a Democrat, Ro Khanna, he actually had something a little bit different to say about Dianne Feinstein's decision to run for re-election. He said, "Feinstein is out of touch with the grassroots of our party on economic policy and foreign policy. After 47 years in elected office and 25 years in the Senate, she continues to cling to office as a voice for the status quo. The fact that the establishment is rallying around her re-election shows that DC insiders continue to privilege protecting one of their own over the voters' concerns. How many times will voters have to demand change before we listen?" So Ro Khanna, in criticizing a fellow Democrat from California, his home state, I think this is incredibly brave and bold. Now, I would love for Ro Khanna to also speak out against Nancy Pelosi, but nonetheless, I'll take a victory where I can get it. And him speaking out against Dianne Feinstein is fantastic because everything he's saying here is absolutely true. Dianne Feinstein is not in touch with the grassroots. In fact, she is an obstacle to progress because she is stopping us from getting a single-payer healthcare system. And not co-sponsoring Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill, and not actively fighting with grassroots activists. If you're not with us, you're against us. And I hate to, speak in absolute terms like this, but it's true when it comes to issues like Medicare for All, when we need all the allies we can get. But the thing about Dianne Feinstein is that she knows that she's out of touch. But even if she knows that people don't like her and they're disenchanted with her centrist and right-wing policies, she doesn't even care if she faces a primary challenger to the left of her, saying, "I am what I am, I'm pretty well known, and people, I assume, will come after me any way they can. That's up to them." In other words, I know that people don't like me because I'm out of touch, I don't represent progressives, and I'm basically a Republican with a D in front of my name, but, if you want to primary me, I welcome that primary challenge because you're not going to beat me because I take millions of dollars from large multinational corporations. And if you really want to go up against me, I'm a behemoth. So try it. Bring it on. You're not going to defeat me. So I'm going to be here forever. And if you don't like the fact that I don't represent you, then too fucking bad. That's effectively what she's saying here. Now, Dianne Feinstein is actually being challenged by a true progressive named David Hildebrand. He supports single payer, he supports campaign finance reform, he supports net neutrality, prison reform, and he's basically a younger version of Bernie Sanders. So if you do want to learn how to support his campaign and hopefully defeat Dianne Feinstein and finally kick her out of Congress once and for all, you can go to davidforcalifornia.com. But these politicians who refuse to retire when they have no interest in representing ordinary Americans, why did you run? Why would you continue to be there if you have no desire to represent the American people? One seat in the Senate, that's really significant. You could do a lot. But Dianne Feinstein, she chooses not to do anything for progressives. What little progress, she advocates for when it comes to gun reform and defending the ACA, she is a barrier to progress when it comes to a whole nother front of issues. So Dianne's got to go. We have to primary her. David's got to beat her. And we've got to kick her ass out of Congress because she's not going to represent us.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.